All right, let's talk about something that's at the very heart of commercial real estate. It's a concept that explains how millions of dollars in value can, seemingly, appear out of nowhere or vanish into thin air. It really all comes down to a tale of two rents.
So let's jump right in. And it all kicks off with this simple, almost riddle-like question. Can one single building, say an office tower, have two completely different rents for two identical spaces at the exact same time?
And the answer is absolutely 100% yes. In fact, in commercial real estate, this isn't some weird exception, it's the rule. It happens every single day, and if you can understand why it happens, you understand the key to the whole game.
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to define our terms. The best way to think about it is like this. It's the difference between the building's current financial reality and its hidden potential for the future. So here they are, the two main characters in our story. On one side, you have contract rent. That's the reality. It's the actual, cold, hard cash that tenants are paying right now, locked in by a legal contract. It's all about the past. And on the other side, you have market rent. That's the potential. It's what that same space could be renting for if it hit the market today. It's all about the present.
Let's make this real. Imagine a small business signed a 10-year lease way back in 2020. They got a great deal. It's, say, $30 a square foot. Well, today they are still paying that same rate. That's their contract rent. It's what's actually hitting the landlord's bank account, locked in stone by that lease agreement.
But, and this is the crucial part, there's also the market rent. This is the big what if. So let's say the unit right next door, totally identical, just became available. Because the market's gotten hotter, it leases today for $38 a square foot. That $38, that's the market rent. It's the real-time, up-to-the-minute value of that space.
All right, so you've got two numbers. Big deal, right? Well, it is a huge deal, because the difference between those two numbers, that gap, is absolutely everything. It's where smart investors find incredible opportunities, and, well, it's also where unsuspecting owners can find some pretty serious risks.
So this gap creates three basic situations. First, if your current contract rent is below the market rent, hey, that's a hidden opportunity, some nice upside. If they're pretty much the same, you've got stability, which is great. But if your contract rent is actually above the market, you're looking at what's called rollover risk. And that means when that lease ends, your income is probably heading down.
Let's visualize this. Here's what that opportunity looks like in the wild. The first bar is what you're getting right now, that $30 contract rent. But the second bar shows what the market says that space is really worth today, $38. That space between the two bars, that's pure, untapped potential just waiting to be captured when that lease comes up for renewal. But of course, this street runs both ways. And this is the scenario that can keep landlords up at night. Here, the contract rent is way up at $45, maybe from a lease signed when the market was peaking. But today, the market rent is only $38. So when that tenant's lease expires, that landlord is facing a pretty significant pay cut.
Now, the really important thing to get here is that investors don't just, guess at this. This isn't just a vibe. There's an actual professional tool used to measure this gap precisely. It's called a mark-to-market analysis, and it quantifies the exact size of the opportunity, or the risk.
So let's just run a quick example. Say your building's average contract rent is $25, but you look around and the market's at $32. You do a quick mark-to-market calculation and, bam, you discover a 28% upside. It's a clean, simple number that tells you there's a real opportunity here. And that percentage, it's not just a number on a spreadsheet. It translates into very real money. You take a 100,000 square foot building, and that 28% gap means there's an extra $700,000 in potential income per year. Now you see why this stuff drives billion-dollar decisions. So knowing all this, how does it actually translate into strategy? Well, understanding this gap leads investors down two completely different paths. It really defines how they play the game. First up, you've got the value-add players. You can think of these folks as treasure hunters. They actively seek out properties with these huge gaps, where the current rents are way below market. Their entire playbook is to buy the building, wait for those old leases to expire, sign new ones at the higher market rate, and boom, they've essentially manufactured new value out of thin air.
And then you have the complete opposite approach, the core or stable investor. These people are not the hunters. They're more like farmers. They're all about safety and predictability. They actually want properties where the rents are already at or very near market levels. And why? Because it minimizes risk. There are no scary surprises waiting for you when a lease expires, just a steady, reliable stream of income.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's really about learning to see a building not just for what it is today, but for what it could be tomorrow. It's about looking at property through a true investor's lens. At the end of the day, it really all boils down to this single idea: the tension between what is happening, that's the reality, the contract rent, and what could be happening, that's the potential, the market rent. That tension is where almost all the value and all the risk is hiding. It's all in that gap.
So the next time you walk past a big office building or drive by a shopping center, you'll know the secret. You'll know it's not just one building with one story, it's a place telling dozens of different financial stories all at the same time. And now you can ask yourself the real question: what story is its rent roll telling you? Is it a story of hidden potential or one of lurking risk?